So it's great to be here. Happy day after Earth Day. So how many small businesses are in here? Because that's the title of the workshop. Raise your hands high. Okay, good. I'm going to actually talk about our program because we're a small business, and then obviously talk about commercial recycling in a municipal setting and talk about program planning and the importance of it. So why focus on commercial recycling? A lot of this was already gone over, what we generate, state recycling rate, that's the unadjusted rate, 38%. State recycling goal, 75%. But let's talk a little bit about how much. Let's start with the big plan, the overall details, and then let's start weaning the program plan that a municipality might want to have to target commercial recycling and a small business, and how you're going to participate to help reach those goals. Right now we landfill 48% of our waste, we recycle 38%, and we combust 14%. So I went on the DEP website and looked at the 2013 annual reporting figures, and I know we could debate those figures, but it's what we have, so we're going to use them today. According to the DEP stats on 2013 recycling rate information, there's 19 million commercial units in the state. That's what's reported by all the counties. There are 37% of those that are participating in a scheduled collection program for recycling, and there are 9% that use on-call collection services or roll-offs or compactors. So part of what we always talk about with working with municipalities or even with businesses, you got to know what you generate, and that is through your dumpster and what the composition is. Whether you're a municipality and actually characterize your waste, and I'm proud to say we've sorted more garbage than any other consulting firm in the Southeast, and yes, I mean sort it with our hands. You have to characterize the waste. In a small business, you will look inside your dumpsters or look at desk side. You have to know what you generate, because if you don't, especially in a business, because what your main function that you provide to your customers or to employees is what's going to drive your program plan. Same holds true for municipalities in developing a commercial program. So I looked at the municipal solid waste collection pie, and all these pies, by the way, are on the DEP website. So let's talk about how you're going to start your program plan. The state, 24% of our waste that we collect is organics. 11% is yard waste, 6% is food waste, 7% is other paper, which is typically not recycled. The paper is for 15%, so that alone is 39%. That is why the 75% rate has a connect direction to commercial recycling. We have gone after the low-hanging fruit with residential recycling. And municipalities are now looking at commercial recycling, not only paper, but organics, and multifamily. But we're here today to talk about commercial recycling. So what is the sector generating? Here it is, category name, that should be commercial on that 55%. I don't know why it's here in my printout this way and that way it's not, but 55% is the commercial sector. That's what the target audience is. That is your customer, and it is the voice of the customer. I'm a firm believer in working for a local government, working for local governments, and working for a utility. It is about the voice of the customer when you develop any program plan. And if you don't know that, I don't personally believe you can have a successful commercial recycling program, because commercial recycling isn't all soft. It's not do the right thing, get the shoestrings on. This is about a business decision, and the business is looking at how recycling is going to impact their employees throughout the day. So the mind to develop a commercial recycling program has to shift into a business plan mindset for developing the program and working with businesses. How a business looks at recycling, the voice of the customer. How much will it cost? It doesn't matter what size. They want to know, will I break even? Will it cost me something? Will I get recycling revenue? How much will it save? What will I avoid in disposal fees by making sure the garbage dumpster waste is reduced and that material goes into the recycling, What will it save, or what will I avoid in terms of disposal cost? Owners want to know, small or large, how much time will it take away from my employees? On the large corporate side, it's usually not as difficult. There's a process flow, there's more people. On the small business side, the office manager could be taking the recyclables to a drop-off. The office, a green employee could be the one that's, I'm going to handle it, I'll call the provider and get service set up. It's very different in the low-hanging fruit versus the, which are the larger businesses, than the small and medium businesses that you're going to target. And we're going to talk a little bit about different programs in a minute. What are the benefits to the company? There are a lot, and we'll talk about those. They're different. Every business is different. Some want to be green and want to be seen green and want the promotion of green. Some want it to just do the right thing because they want it, a combination of both. It all differs. What changes need to be made? It's probably the number one question. And a lot of time, whether it's a small business or not, they want to, one of the biggest things I hear in waste assessments that I've done for 26 years is, well, it's going to generate more garbage, and I think the cleaning company will have to handle it. I don't know why there's always been this crazy misperception that there's going to be more garbage when you start recycling. And if you have if you're dealing with cleaning companies or maintenance companies, they may say, and this is the truth, well, we're going to charge you more. That should be a big flat no, you're not. Because we're not generating more waste, it's just going to be shifting to a different container. And we're going to place the containers side by side, and so blah, blah, blah. Who will be responsible for the program? It depends. Could be a green team. I think Jean talked earlier today about getting a technical team together. In a small business, it could be one person that is that green team person. What are ramifications for not participating? Orange County placed on your table the mandatory ordinance that they have. There are, in some jurisdictions in the state of Florida, there are ramifications for mandatory recycling programs if a business does not participate. And we'll be talking about an example in a few minutes about what some of those might be. What type of technical assistance or education is available? I always say to a local government that if you have to define your program. Is your program strictly an education-based program for businesses where you're just going to tell them who to call, where to call, and you're not involved at all? Make sure that's very clear on your website. If you're going to link them to providers, make sure that's clear on your website. If you're going to provide and you have a waste assessor, make sure that's clear. Be very clear about what you do and don't provide. And especially since everybody is going for most of their information to the web first before they call, if your website doesn't clearly state what you do and don't offer, you're missing the boat immediately for your municipal program to your targeted commercial customers. What motivates a small business? Money. We are a 12-person consulting company in Tampa, Florida. For many, many years, we took our recyclables to a drop-off. When the new Hillsborough County collection contracts were rewritten, we were able to go to a single-stream cart at our office, and we recycle and compost over 80% of our waste. We are one of the small businesses that were recognized by the DEP for its efforts. I heard a lot of bigger businesses earlier talking about the DEP's recognition. A small business can do it. We also have to walk the talk. It would be ludicrous for us to be working for local governments throughout the state of Florida if we didn't have a plan for zero waste, even in our own business. So mandates, we don't have a mandate in our local government, but if we were, in our business for Hillsborough County, but if we were in Sarasota County, there would be a mandate, 2 counties south of Hillsborough. The green image recognition, I mentioned that we feel we do a good job, so we submit to for various reasons. There's also the EPA Small Business Recognition Program. There's Recycle Florida Today's Business Recognition Program. So if you have a good program, and regardless of your size, and you want recognition, then by all means, it's out there. And if you're a local government starting a business program, Your target audience, your users, they like awards. And they are successful. They're also great ways to start partnerships with these businesses through these awards programs. It's also a way to get information about what businesses are doing in your community. The green ethic, just walking the talk. It's not talking the talk, it's walking the talk. And there has been, I would say, and I've been working in commercial recycling since 1992. I started off at the Palm Beach County Solid Waste Authority as the commercial recycling specialist, and then I moved to the coordinator. So for those of you that are from a municipality or local government, I have walked in your shoes to develop a program, and develop a program that works for your community. If you've heard any of us from Kessler Consulting ever talk, we believe all waste is local. So though there may be some fundamental program things I'm going to go over today, it will be set up based on what your local solid waste infrastructure is, the demographic makeup of your business community, whether you're inland in Florida or on the coast in Florida. Commercial recycling is another bailiwick, and it does need a business plan, different than residential curbside program. Grassroots pressure. There's been some communities who for years didn't want a commercial recycling program, but the residential program forced people 9 to 5 to want commercial recycling. Challenges to commercial recycling. Diversity of business community. Figure out who you're going to target and how you're going to target. Your large generators are probably already recycling. They may need additional help and support or awards and partnerships. But your small and medium businesses, the higher hanging fruit, they need help, and they're a different type and need a different type of service and setup. Multiple players, space limitations are always an issue, especially with businesses who will fight for space. If there is an enclosure requirement in a local government's community where you cannot use space, a parking space, infrastructure is growing, cost of service, it varies all over the place. And staff resources. If you're going to do a mandatory program, you need to look at staff resources, because do not go into a mandatory program if you're not going to have support for a program, both financially, staffing, and if you're not going to measure it, because then it's just a piece of paper on your ordinance website. Multiple players, business, industry, institutions, internal. Executives or a business owner, departments and staff, could be an office manager. Maintenance and cleaning company, it could be someone in the office who's doing that work and getting the garbage out to the dumpster. So small business, big business, two different approaches. External, the thing about the higher hanging fruit in the commercial sector, they are typically tenants in a multi-story office or a strip mall. The decision maker is not the person wanting to do recycling in that strip mall or multi-story building. The decision maker is the property manager or the leasing agent. Think about how you're going to target, who you're going to target. One's the one I want to do it, one is the decision maker. Service providers. Service providers are playing more and more of a big key role in being a part of recycling programs. Bob Hires, he and I had a chance to talk with Waste Pro, mention to the group what you mentioned about what's happening from a contract perspective for you and what local governments are asking for in RFPs and contracts.
Yeah, Miriam, that's one of the reasons the main reason they're here today.
So did everybody hear that? The RFPs that are going out for new collection service, and there's a commercial component now about how the hauler is going to partner with and respond to in an RFP on how they're going to help with commercial recycling, and that is a trend. So let's quickly talk about some of the types of commercial programs in the state of Florida. How many local governments are here today? You can raise your hands high. Okay, you're mainly in the back too, by the way. Okay, so voluntary. So let's talk about voluntary program, mandatory program, municipal program, private-public partnership, and using a private collector. So voluntary. Pinellas County has a Cutting Waste at Work program. They have a full-time waste auditor on staff, and that waste auditor's role was to go out into the community and get business to recycle. We started working with them, I did in 2013, because they were doing 2 assessments a year. And the new manager wanted more than that. Make a long story short, the program was assessed, and here's the good news. They had all their information. They had wonderful education material. They had a plethora of it, and they had it for years. But the problem was it wasn't being used in the right capacity, nor was it being distributed out to the commercial sector. Once there was some changes made to that program, now the assessor is doing 6 a month. And their specific target, they're going for the bigger businesses. As backwards as it might sound, they want to go after the large hotel, motel, obviously they're on the coast, generators in their community. So they're specifically targeting the larger generators. But in that same program plan, they wanted a small business waste assessment form put together, 1 page that they use when they go to strip malls. So it was twofold. They have information and a targeted program and a trained staff and training material to target large entities through the waste assessments. 6 a month is what they're doing. But they also had a program backup for the small businesses that are in strip malls working through property managers. Mandatory program. You got the Orange County ordinance. Sarasota County. Sarasota County on their website puts both of their ordinances clearly on their commercial business page. It clearly says on there they are have a mandatory program. Businesses know where to go to define what recovered materials are. They have a phone number and a form to fill out to get to the assessor. It's incredibly clear to me. It kills me on any website when I go somewhere to look for information and I cannot find who to call or how to get information. It's the very first thing that should be done on the website. And that digital divide that's happening, you know, those of us that are 35, it's probably 45 and younger now. 35 and younger now is pretty much getting 95% of their information on social media. Doesn't mean we forget about those of us that still read the paper or anything like that. No, because there's a portion of us. But your demographics are key to finding out how you're going to talk. Social media is going to be key to your programs in the future. It may sound painful, but it is critical. City of Tallahassee. City of Tallahassee, and all this can be found on their websites, by the way. I picked municipalities that we worked with and also that I thought had good websites where the information is clear. They provide 2 carts free to small businesses. And they also, on their website, have rates for dumpsters. So, sounds crazy, but they do. And they have made an active role in really working with their hauler. The hauler focuses on certain collection aspects there, but the city is the one who's really doing the majority of the commercial recycling out in the community. And like I said, they provide 2 carts, one for, they're not on a single stream in terms of the commercial recycling program that year, but one for different materials. So you can see all that there. So these populations, 926,000 was a voluntary program for Pinellas. Sarasota County is a population of 385K mandatory. City of Tallahassee is 186,000 in their population. So they handle their material themselves. They're actively promoting commercial recycling, and their recycling coordinator goes out and helps businesses. And for any small or medium business here, if you have not yet looked up your recycling coordinator in your community, that's a very important person that you should contact for help. Charleston County, they have a population of 373K. I thought I'd throw in a non-Florida entity. Charleston County actually provides, they have focused in their partnership with their private hauler there, they have targeted 4 cubic yard and smaller businesses, while the private sector focused on 4 cubic yards and higher. The reason for that is in that particular, all garbage is local community, the haulers prefer to handle the larger volume commercial customers. And in many cases, not all, that happens to be the case for the private sector. The smaller 4 cubic yard and smaller businesses aren't necessarily who they want to target. So I'm seeing, you know, the the local governments who do provide service, they're making some of these arrangements out to provide those services